Uganda, and welcome to the show On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight we shed a light on matters affecting Kampala, Uganda's capital city. The president made a decision to sack 3 leaders of Kampala, the executive director, her deputy, and the director of public health. So tonight we understand now there is a director in acting capacity, but the challenges are still there. What can he do? What solution does he bring? Tonight my guests include the spokesperson of Kampala Capital City Authority, Mr. Daniel Nwabine. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel. Thank you, Patrick, and I'm glad to be here. And tonight we also have a former deputy mayor for Kampala, Haji Nasibu Takuba. Thank you so much for joining us, Haji.
Thank you very much, and welcome.
Let me begin with you, Mr. Daniel Nwabine, because you speak for KCCA. It must be very hard to be the spokesperson of an entity that seems to be in a crisis after crisis. How do you deal with this? Your job must be very hard, isn't it?
Well, it's humbling being in a position like this, and it's also an opportunity to be a part of the solution. Well, let me start by bringing regards from my colleagues at KCCA, both elected and appointed, and also to congratulate Ndugu Rusa, Frank Rusa, who has been appointed in interim capacity to be the executive director of KCCA, and his colleagues, Robert Nowere, who has been the director of revenue collection and is now the acting deputy executive director, and Dr. Zarwango Karen, who is the deputy director of public health and has been appointed to be the director of public health and environment in interim capacity. We welcome them. They are part of us, and we believe we can go on, as well as thank Dr. Dorothy Chisaka, who has been the executive director, Engineer David Ruyimbazi, Dr. Daniel Okelo, who has been in public health, for what they've contributed. We have learned from them the good, and that which didn't go well, we have also learned it and hope we'll master it, but we wish them well. We are grateful they were with us, and we wish them well in their next endeavors. And before we start this discussion, to the people watching out there, the people of Chitezi, the people of Kampala, the people of Nyakaana, the people of Kasanga, the people of Uganda, I bring regrets from my colleagues that we are sorry. We are sorry where we let you down, especially the people of Chitezi. We are sorry that this happened during our time in the city, and we regret every moment of it, and it's time to start a new chapter, to start afresh. We have had, we're having some introspect internally as a team. We are not happy, we're all sad with the people that lost their lives, lost their livelihoods, lost their homes, and we are dedicated, we are committed to making things right. We will not bring them back, but we are surely committed to having a better city and a better way to manage our waste and a better way of doing things in Kampala.
Okay, so you have a new team, Daniel, and you have said their names and what they're going to do and who is senior and who is deputy. And these are people who have been working with the KCCA. And KCCA is an entity that has been facing a lot of challenges. You seem to speak with a lot of optimism from you, but we look at the leadership of Kampala and even the country regurgitating the same old. Where do you get that hope from, that the team in interim capacity that's going to be headed by my friend, actually, Mr. Frank Rusa, will create some change and maybe make things better?
Well, we have had a candid discussion with Comrade Rusa, And the instructions are clear from the head of state by his disappointment in the letter that was written. We have instructions from the ministers, and we believe these instructions come straight from the fountain of order. We have had a candid discussion within ourselves as a leadership at KCCA, and we're up to the task.
Haven't you always had discussions? Haven't you always had the ED having an engagement with the president being the appointing authority and you being the technical people? Haven't you always, these are the people who have always been working at KCCA. What makes you think they're going to come with some kind of a magic bullet?
Well, we have not had incidents that are life-changing and crises of this magnitude, a crisis of this magnitude like we had. We have had potholes, yes. People's shocks getting dismantled. We have had people not being paid on time, but we have not had people die. It's heavy.
Let me go to Haji. Let me go to Haji Takuba, because Haji, you were deputy mayor, if I remember, during the time of the late Sawana Kizito, right?
Yes.
And when you see the leadership of Kampala now, considering probably the challenges you faced and how you maneuvered, somebody told me that whoever now leads Kampala as the executive director is like drinking from a poisoned well. That, God forbid, that even Frank Rusa, very soon is going to find himself in trouble. What do you think is the real problem for Kampala as the former deputy mayor of this city?
Thank you very much. For me, I think the problem starts from the leadership. It starts from the leadership, and then it ends with the funds to do the work which they are supposed to do. For me, this is what I'm thinking. Because the problem is that leadership of the city has been taken away from the people. People who make decisions for the running of the city, they are not really on the ground. Because now, if you look at the elected leaders, for example, the Lord Mayor and the Deputy Lord Mayor and the councillors, yes. The councillors, these are people, they're elected by the people, and they're supposed to do work which, I mean, they have to consult the people they represent. They have to make decisions, they have to follow what is being decided, and they have to look and follow or supervise, like they are telling them it's eyes on what is being done by the technical team. But the problem is that their decisions, they don't hold.
But you know, I remember during the time of Jennifer Musisi, I could hear some kind of conflict between the office of the executive director and the Lord Mayor.
Yes.
But I could also see some work going on. In this regime of Dorothy Kisaka, there hasn't been a lot of conflict between the Lord Mayor and Dorothy Kisaka. But people would tell you, nothing much has been achieved. So what explains that? That when they seemed to be in conflict, work was going on. When they seem to be in harmony, the verdict is work is not going well.
I think we have to look at the budget. How much was given to Jennifer Musisi during her time, and how much is being given to Dorothy Kisaka? Because it seems if you are in good books with the power that be, then they might give you enough money. But if you ask him, the budget of KCCA is dwindling. It's not increasing.
Do you think that perhaps there hasn't been a lot of focus from the appointing authority, let's say the president, that maybe this time around, at least maybe once a month or once a week, the president, the Lord Mayor, and the executive director of Kampala should be meeting to discuss about matters of Kampala, at least a weekly or monthly basis. Then you know the progress. But it looks like probably the president has distanced himself, thinking maybe the appointed people can work, but there should be a constant engagement. The Lord Mayor, the executive director, and the president to discuss about the matters of a capital city of our country. Do you think maybe that should be
of course,
the way forward?
That should be a way forward, but I don't think they really coordinate, they really meet, because you see, when council sits and they make a decision, that decision can be vetoed by the minister. And now you have got a lot of power centers. You've got the council, you've got the executive director, you've got the ministers, you've got the, what other power do you have there?
You have the RCC.
You have the RCC, and then you find that this one is saying this, the other one is saying this, and you find that nothing is taking place.
So now, okay, let's look at those power centers, Daniel. Like you said, we have two ministers, the full cabinet minister and the state minister. You have the appointed executive director. You have the Lord Mayor, the deputy Lord Mayor, and the councillors. You have the RCC and others. That alone is bound to cause some kind of conflict, isn't it? Isn't that a problem in itself?
Well, if you look at it in the perspective of a problem, it can be a problem. But if you look at it in the perspective of an opportunity, it is also an opportunity. We live in a representative democracy. And
be decisive on this.
Yes,
what is it? It's a problem.
No. I think
so what is
an
it?
Opportunity.
In what sense?
An opportunity.
How come we don't see the dividends of such an opportunity?
One, the people of Kampala are represented. In this previous term, we have almost everyone in Kampala on the table. And out of that, we have had less antagonism in the city. And that is arising out of people coming together in the councils and up to the authority level. We have a semblance of representation, people's views.
Which coming together are you talking about here? Just last week, they were at each other's throat. They were throwing punches in the council. I mean, people were kicking each other.
At least they were not on the streets.
So that's good enough for them to fight?
At least they were not on the streets.
I mean, the council is a place for them to debate and be persuasive, not to fight.
At least we have gotten them, or they have come from the streets into a confined place.
Well, they brought the streets into the chambers.
That is not the plus of it, but people's views are coming up. Because of this, and we had talked of the issue of resources, because of this, all these centers have come up and shown that there is a need for resources. Having two ministers means that we have representation in cabinet. Kampala now, unlike before, has representation in cabinet. Yes, we have had little resources, but government has listened. And this financial year, for the first time, we are getting resources of up to $1 trillion, up to $1 trillion shillings this financial year. It means we have more resources allocated for roads. We have more resources allocated.
You see, the problem of resources allocated for roads, in some cases, it has not been the question of lack of resources. I'll give you the example of the roads you're supposed to be working on, including 8th Street industrial area. That road that you're beginning now, money was approved and given 2-3 years back.
Yes.
So how does it help? They give you $1 trillion now, but we know for the roads around industrial area, KCCA had money for 3 years.
Yes.
Up to now, there's no work being done. So why we even give you $1 trillion shillings, and why should we be happy that now things are going to move, yet you've had money all along?
I am very optimistic because...
But where do you draw that optimism from?
I am drawing it from the people that I have sat with, I have talked to. We had challenges of design reviews. These designs have been reviewed.
Let me put it like this, Daniel. Are you aware that in most cases, money for road construction for Kampala, the roads I've mentioned about, has always been around for more than 3 years?
Yes.
Some of them
And
more,
that
more
money-
than 5 years.
And mark my words, Patrick and the viewers, we have done introspection. We have seen where the challenge is. We have had self-searching, soul-searching. And we are going to deliver on this. Give us these 100 days.
Former Deputy
Let's see
Mayor,
things.
former Deputy Mayor Kampala Capital, do you believe them?
No,
Why?
I don't.
Haji,
Because what you are saying,
Haji-
have you
Haji, give
starting
us an
from this new
Haji-
interim administration?
give the people at KCCA, my colleagues, myself and my colleagues at KCCA, the new leadership at KCCA, believe we are asking the people of Kampala, give us a chance, let's make things right.
Haji
And
Takuba,
indeed,
this
we are going
city,
to make
this
things
city of the Pearl of Africa is terribly embarrassing.
Yes.
This city that's supposed to be the window or the door of our country is in a sorry state. Our roads are deplorable. In some cases, when you look at the garbage crisis, garbage heaps are turning into mountains. Isn't that a problem beyond Kampala Capital City Authority leadership that maybe goes the entire government headed by President Yoweri Museveni? Because this is a capital city. Honestly, you have people coming. We have been hosting conferences, including last time we had huge conferences coming to Kampala, but our city is in a sorry state. Isn't that an indictment on the government led by President Yoweri Museveni?
It is.
I wouldn't think it is an indictment. The president has given us an opportunity to serve. How we have served may not be suitable, and probably that's why he has made the decision he has made. And he's saying, let these young Turks, let these new people do something about it. And we are going to do something about it.
Okay, Haji Takuba, I want you to analyze this for me. Maybe I'm wrong. There's a feeling that Janice Famusisi, the former ED, had tried to infuse some energy into the city, and you could see things move. One of the reasons, many have said, including yourself, that maybe she had more money than what Madam Dorothy Kisaka had. Is it really more about money? Was it because even them have been having money for 3 or 4 years for road construction and nothing happened? I could see during Jennifer Moses's time, even the people's sentiments and attitude were changing on how you move around.
That's right.
You do not litter, you don't ride your board on a pavement and things like that. What made Musisi a little bit different from the administration of Dorothy Kisaka?
I think maybe it was, she was an implementer. She was an implementer, and she used to follow what is being done. Secondly, she indirectly involved the community. You know, there is a way she went to the community and involved them. See, this is I'm doing this for you, you have to help me so that I do this. You remember the groups which were used to do the cleaning. You remember when he was working on these roads, when he was beautifying the city, and things like that. And sadly, of course,
the Kampala festival, things like that.
Festival,
people would feel they're part of it.
Yes. So people felt they are part of the what. But that involvement also helped.
And what kind of, you as a deputy mayor during the time of the late Savannah, what kind of challenges that you are facing then and you think are still lingering today?
The challenges especially was for the funding. But for us, we had power. We had power. We made decisions and we could implement and follow our decisions. Council was powerful, the executive was powerful, and we could, the little money we had, we could divide it from the local revenue, and then from some money from the government. They used to give us conditional grant and unconditional grant, but we made the budget, we implemented the budget, and we followed the budget.
But even your regime also left us with no roads as well. Many equipment of our roads are not paved.
Yeah, but at least we involved the community. We even went to, we involved the public. You see, some of them even contributed to us as we worked on the roads, we worked on the road signs, and worked on the lights and things like that. But we looked at what we had, and we used what we had to do the work. Actually,
so the elected leaders of Kampala, does it affect service delivery when you have the Lord Mayor, FDC, most of the councillors are NUP, then you have the appointed, of course, ministers are NRM, and you have the RCC. That combination of different political ideologies in the city, the people are supposed to be working together. Are they not bound to clash? And isn't that perhaps one of the reasons why things don't move?
No, they're not bound to crash. What makes them crash is that when the government took over the city from KCC to KCCA, it was a bad intention. It was political. The takeover was political, was to get rid of, because the opposition used to what? To manage the city. But for us, when we were there, we requested the government to give Kampala a special status. Special status meant in terms of funding, so that they could the city could be given money directly from the consolidated fund or other, so that it is treated special because of the infrastructure, the roads, the water, and it's the capital city. But when they took it over, they just changed the names of the people, like the town clerk to become like a city director, the heads of department to become directors, and the deputy directors, and things like that. But they're doing the same work. But the funding didn't come with it to do the work. Because if they have their strategic plan, you can see how much, what work do you expect to do, and what have you done.
Daniel, we continue to live in a city that is dirty, a city that is, our roads are full of potholes, a city, even if you go right now on Kampala Road, that's supposed to be our main city street, that is in darkness. And yet, 70% of Uganda's economy is actually developed here. Money is coming here. So we wonder, what do you need? Well, you are in the positions of leadership for Kampala. When it rains, we have that torrent of mud all over, flooding all over, yet you're always moving around doing benchmarking. When you go and see those cities and come back, don't you at least admire and say, let us implement?
Patrick, it would be wrong to say that we're in such a bad state.
Because it is.
When someone hears you talking about Kampala being in such a state,
it is.
It would be really wrong.
No, it is my city, and it is. I work here and I live here and I know it.
You have gotten here and you have a clean shoe.
You don't know what I've just gone through to get it now.
Honestly, doesn't have.
Let me give you an example to show you anarchy. No Ugandans will listen. Daniel, if you go right now at Clock Tower, during the day, and you see the anarchy of how people drive on borders, how they total disregard in the presence of police. I don't know whether you've been there. Maybe you don't go to some of those places.
I come from way downtown. I live downtown.
Yeah, but you see what happens there? Isn't that anarchy?
Our city is a major construction site. We have over 71 kilometers of road that are being constructed as I speak.
Let me tell you. Let me just give you an example.
We have 8th Street.
In the upscale part of Kampala, right at Parliament,
yes,
MPs will come out from Parliament, on that Nile Avenue
Yes.
and drive on the wrong lane towards UBC. They don't care.
Now that is
Office of the Prime Minister,
that is a
members
whole
of
lot-
Parliament,
that is a whole
ministers.
lot of
I mean, even the borders and us who are driving small cars, we are watching, we just copy from them. That's what they do.
That is a whole lot of mental infrastructure that we also have to build. Infrastructure is not just the roads, but also mentally.
Who's going to build it?
From each one of us behaving responsibly. From Kamara getting a ticket, as well as a humble Nwabine getting a ticket for the wrong they do. And the president has raised the whip. MPs have been whipped. Leaders at different levels have been whipped. If this whipping continues, such that Kamara has a similar whipping with Nwabine or with Odong, then it shall come in our heads that doing a wrong turn, a right turn where you're supposed to do a left, driving on the pavement, having a siren. I have seen the sirens have reduced in the city. That is a good sign.
Let me take you to Haji Takuba, because you're an elder as well, and the former deputy mayor. There's impunity and anarchy on our streets, total disregard of the traffic rules and regulations. How did we get here? How do we solve that? In fact, nowadays there's a new word called gambanogu, that a traffic police officer will not even stop. If they stop you, he will make a call and tell you gambanogu, and you'll cow down, and then he'll continue breaking the law. How did we get here?
I don't know how we got here, but we are there. We are there, really.
But the matter is, we are getting out of here.
I think, but the first question is, how did we get there? How did we get there? I think it's the law and order. You know, the implementers of law and order, sometimes they are the people now breaking laws. This is how it starts. You see, we get category of people who can do whatever they can do without anyone saying anything. So they become special. And so other people see them do that, and then they follow them.
I recently stopped at Clock Tower, and there was no traffic, and I had a conversation with the traffic officer. I said, look at the hundreds of borders who are moving the wrong direction, just as you look at them. And then he was tempted to stop another vehicle. So now, how do you even stop a car, a driver who has made a mistake, and live with others? How are you selectively applying the law? And the man told me, they are overwhelmed. Yeah. There's nothing they can do. He said, look at them. I'll stop one, and the other will come. What can I do? They are helpless, overwhelmed, right at Clock Tower. And that is the characteristic, that's the character of the city now.
That's right.
People will drive the way they want, they will ride the way they want, whether they are ministers or border riders or people like us. So are we living in a city? And yet, should anyone, a politician, try to do something that perhaps is considered not right by the NRM government, they will come all guns blazing to that person. They will be there to enforce the law. But when it matters most, in my view, the law will not be applied. How? Why?
Well, I would like to think that once we fast track, and indeed we are going to fast track most of the developments in the city, if we harness public transport and we have the proper transport facilities, buses, then there will be no need for Kamara to come with a vehicle to town. Once we fast track the automation of mobility instructions like traffic lights, because we have now completed the traffic control center at City Hall. Now, if we have the traffic lights up at the Clock Tower, if we have the traffic lights up at all these junctions and function, and these are going to be automated and smart, then traffic can move according to
you know, no, please, Daniel. Why I'm saying this is because you are aware that you've been having these grand plans of Kampala master plan. You have paid an Israeli company, a South African company to draw plans to do this. Yes. And these plans have been gathering dust at City Hall for ages. So if you come and tell us these things you don't implement, you have paid companies to make a master plan for Kampala, grand master plan, Israeli and South African.
We are wiping
and that's almost like 10 years ago.
We are wiping off the dust. If you look at the junctions we have been talking about, Kubiri, Murago, along Old Chira Road, the roads, like I said, we are having a huge construction site in the city. We are wiping off the dust and we're in action. The reason why you see this dust in Kampala is not because someone is having a huge fan and blowing the dust up. No, we are constructing roads. And some of these we have completed. If you look at Wamala Road now, all the way crossing from Wankurukuku, going up to Mutu, we have worked on it. There are spots in Kampala today where you move from one end of Kampala to the other end without finding a single pothole. You come from Unyonyo, go through Bukasa, come down Makindye, come through Clock Tower, go through up to Chisasi, you go to Kulambiro, and you exit in Chanja. You will not find a single pothole. Now we need to fast track these projects, and we are going to fast track them. We are asking the people of Kampala, yes, we might have been a little slow somehow because of some challenges.
All right, Daniel Haji Takuba. Daniel and Haji Takuba, gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and on the spot we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest this evening, I have Daniel Nwabine, spokesperson of KCCA, and I have Haji Hasib Takuba, former deputy mayor of Kampala. And we're discussing the challenges that are facing Uganda's capital city, Kampala. You actually have a financial war chest of 1 trillion for the Kampala capital city.
Infrastructure, yeah.
But that kind of money has not, is quite a colossal sums of money.
Yes.
But why don't we see that money really be deployed to do work for the benefit of the people who live in this city? Because now it looks like money is not the issue.
Patrick.
Money is not the issue, right?
Yes. Money is not the issue.
You have, KCCA has money, 1 trillion.
We're in the third month of the financial year. And if you look at the works that are being done in the city, when you're constructing a road, for example, you start with the drainage. Now, the drainages are being worked upon, and these are activities that are below the ground. You'll see digging up, you'll see a lot of mud when it rains, then they do the box culverts, everything looks rough. And after that is done, which takes most of the time, by the way, doing the bases, doing the sub-bases, and all those engineering terminologies, all that is below. You see, a road is like a building. A building looks very shabby for about 18 months. We had the traffic control center. 18 months, it looks shabby being constructed. And then once the paint is put there, it looks a very beautiful thing. And you think that the paint is how that has made it what? Beautiful. Yet it's a whole colossal construction that is going on. That is what is going on. We have this money, we are doing work. We need to fast track the work. If you're talking of doing work, yes, we are doing work. But fast tracking it, that is where we are now. That is the introspection. That is the internal reflection of all the stuff. My colleagues, we had a meeting with the engineering team. And it was posed to them. The ministers asked them, what is it that you're doing? Today the minister says that he's going to come every week to supervise what we are doing. Everyone should be having their performance appraisal. Yes, If it has gotten to that, let it be. But each one of us has had that introspection, that internal review of oneself. What am I doing for my city? We have to fill a generational gap. This is a generational issue that we have to deal with. Our roads must be done. Our garbage, especially the garbage, we are going to deal with that. That one is going to get off the streets.
Takuba, on the issue of waste management for Kampala, today, if you go in some of divisions, Rubaga and any other, you'll find that heaps of garbage are turning into small mountains. And I'm wondering, we are just about to enter the month of October, which is a rainy month. If October rains find us in this kind of mess, we stand a risk of having a cholera epidemic in this city, don't we?
Yes, we do.
How do we avert that? How do we make sure we...
Because now, you know, they've been using Chitezi, and we see what happened to Chitezi. They're in the process of securing another place. I don't know what they're doing right now, but the problem is building.
As a former administrator of the city, why did you leave us a landfill instead of a proper waste management system?
Yeah, you know, there is a difference between a landfill and a dump site.
Yes.
But this was the landfill which was well managed. But by the time we left, we had indicated that the landfill is about what? To get filled. And I think they have in their report, maybe this should have been closed maybe by 2016. But they've been using it, and I don't know why haven't they moved to where they had bought another...
Dundu, some place called Dundu somewhere in Mukono.
And another thing, also garbage. There are other things which you can get out of garbage. And I think they know. They would have exploited them.
Yes, I've heard all these things that they can get wealth out of waste, they can get treasure out of trash, but but that's where they stop.
Well, maybe in that same line, Mr. Kamara and viewers, we are not going to have a cholera outbreak in this city, not under our watch. We have had a challenge. Chitezi went down, and we have been going to Katikoro. We are working on Menvu at the moment. The reason why we have heaps of garbage is that while at Chitezi, we used to handle about 8 trucks, each pouring. So we would have 3 trips of garbage collection from the city. Unlike now, where we're going to Katikoro, where we have 1 trip, and we can't dictate the working times of our colleagues in Katikoro.
Where is Katikoro?
In Mukono. Now, we have engaged the Ministry of Works. KCCA is going to provide the fuel. We are going to Menvu. We are going to work on the roads there. We are going to open up the cells. When you dump garbage, it's not just dumping it, but they dig up cells. So in about 2 weeks, we shall have completed Menvu, where we are going to temporarily dump, and we are going to clear the backlog in the city. We are already clearing the backlog. It is reducing. It was worse. We are clearing it, and it is reducing. But ultimately, in the next about 18 to 20 months, we expect to finalize the waste-to-energy plant at Dundu. Here, the machine there will convert waste into energy, into electricity. We shall not be dumping there, but we shall be processing waste. Electricity comes out, the ash.
Okay, all right. We have heard about all those plans. We've even seen the artistic impression. That's where it stops. But okay, bring us to speed on what you are doing right now in Dundu. So what is, as we speak right now, Daniel, what is going on at Dundu?
First of all, what I request is that be optimistic. Please be optimistic, because these things
I don't want to have false hope. I want hope that is based into something.
Full hope. At Dundu, we have finalized the feasibility studies. We are obtaining the operational licenses from NEMA, from the Electricity Regulatory Authority, and all other agencies that are dealing in energy. And soon we shall have the groundbreaking at Dundu of construction of that facility. But in the meantime, we have been looking for a private facility where we can dump garbage in the moment, such that once we open up Dundu, we can transfer this garbage from there and then take it to Dundu. That is the land purchase that we requested for, or that is ongoing. We passed an expression of interest, we advertised an expression of interest in the papers for people who have land that is 200 acres, not more than 30 kilometers from the city. We got some land, but it was not fit for purpose. So we have put up this advert again, and we are calling for land. There are people who had been left out because of the time, and their land could have been good. So once we have that, and we dump, and the dumping that we are talking about is dumping responsibly now, such that we don't create a landfill. We are moving away from landfills to processing. But as we move away, we need to have somewhere where we put this garbage.
Okay. Haji Takuba, our West, some of it is, of course, organic, and another is inorganic. You have plastics, you have metals, you have all these things, you know, banana peels and stuff like that. Because it needs to start from people themselves at home level to be able to sort. Right. Do you see us, the residents of Kampala, to be able to sort our garbage so that if they are taking it for energy production, we have organic matter alone and then plastics alone? Because it looks like we have, as a people, we haven't reached there. What will make us be able to sort our garbage?
Unless we sort our garbage, the other things will not work. And they have to train people how to sort garbage. If garbage is not sorted, they will not get what they are supposed to get out of it. But separation is very important. They should have started. These people collecting the garbage, they should have bags of different colors, so that people get to know this is where we put organic, this is where we put plastic, this is where we put glasses, this is where we put this, and they have to start on that.
So Daniel, when does that start for you? Sensitization, so that people can be of great help before even garbage is taken. It's already sorted from home.
Well, we have started this, and as we speak, every resident in Kampala, or every one of us who comes into Kampala, generates about half a kilogram of garbage a day. Now, we are going into communities, and we are going to reignite this and re-enhance it. That in the community where we produce 85% of the waste that is produced in our communities is biodegradable waste. Now we are fortunate that the plastics have people who buy them. The scrap has people who buy it. And the biodegradables now have to be sorted with. Those are the peelings of matoke, because if you go to our markets, we have started this in the markets. The people bringing in matoke, we request them, or cassava or potatoes, we are requesting them not to bring the leaves, the grass and all that. But also when they come to the market.
Well, first of all, why do they bring those things?
It has been tradition.
So you want to break their tradition?
We want to reduce the tradition, especially during this time. We have sensitized people in the markets. In the markets, they're separating the kavera from the banana peelings, from the cassava leaves. Now, the farmers are picking part of that from the markets and taking it back to the gardens. So the garbage is reducing, because it is only called garbage when it is mixed up. Otherwise, it is waste, which can be reused.
But first of all, our own habit of
treasure.
Bringing all the things from rural Uganda, matoke and monde and potatoes, sometimes with their soil and with their peelings and all. Isn't there a way how probably we can leave the West if we are bringing matoke from Mbarara? Invest into refrigeration systems,
so they can,
and you don't have to bring all this. And look, we have a place here, an abattoir in the city center, and you bring all those cows and whatever, and abattoir just in the city center. Isn't that even a wrong move to put it here? Don't we need to change some of the things?
I think we do.
An abattoir should be somewhere, and then meat is brought in. You don't have to bring all those things. You have to. You need to go down here on Golovi Road and smell the stench.
Well, the answer is in value addition. If value addition is done at the point of production, now there is the overall picture of national development. In Mbarara, towards Mbarara, there is a matoke factory. So if this matoke is processed into powder and it comes here into the shelf, the peelings will reduce in the city. But this,
actually, there has been a presidential banana development called initiative, I think by Professor Maranga, somewhere in Bushenyi, that is supposed to create what they call toke flour. But it is at a development phase for as long as I can remember, and it has taken billions of money. Is that what you're talking about?
Now, there is that, but also the overall value addition. You see, cassava from the east, if you look at our people across the Nile, there is less garbage in the homesteads there because of the kind of food that is eaten. The staple food is kalo, mixed with cassava, all of which are processed in the what? In the machine. So what goes into the homestead is flour that is mingled, and beans that are, and meat that is boiled or done, and the meat is cooked. Then us from this side of the Nile, we peel. You buy the whole bunch of matoke as it is, take it home, peel it. You even get extra dressing. You cover, you kubobeza, and you do what?
So on your matoke you have like 70% garbage.
You have a lot of that garbage. But if we, for example, started and had the technology to peel this matoke and bring it to the homestead when peeled, and that is also opportunity. That is jobs for people.
Okay. I want us gentlemen to looking through, and with your help, Haji Takuba, the issue of public transport system for Kampala, because that's another issue, that's another headache. Sometimes the traffic jam of bumper to bumper, we lose a lot of time, a lot of productive work because we are trapped in our own traffic jam. How can we have an efficient public transport system for this city?
Public transport here in our city is a menace, because these small companies, taxis, they are too many. They take few people and they go on each and every route. Because if you introduce buses can take more than 60 people or 70 people. But these ones, they are too small and they are everywhere. We need to introduce slightly bigger buses.
But I remember there was a company called Pioneer Easy Bus.
Yes.
Now I see something looks like a graveyard of buses somewhere around Boyogere or Kireka.
I think
you have an idea what could have happened? Because we tried.
I don't know what happened to
okay, Daniel, the bus transport system.
Well, part of the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project, we were planning for a bus system as well. But we need to have a holistic discussion.
You have a plan for everything.
No, this one we need to have a holistic discussion. Yes, we have a plan. We have these plans, but we need the private sector to get involved in it. The private players.
You may need to know, because I can imagine Pioneer is a bus, there must have been private players involved.
Yes.
And I'm sure they burnt their fingers, and I'm sure that was not a very good experience.
I don't know whether they burnt their fingers.
But because I've seen...
we have, for example, we have about 15,000 taxis in the city. The way forward is engaging them into cooperating and having more feasible investments that will feed into the future. Where we have 10 taxis, they can be merged into a bus. But this is a whole discussion that we need to take on. And that is what the new administration is all about. Involving the citizenry. I've talked to Frank before I came here, asking him, what do you think? And we have said that, yes, let us engage. Let's have a citizen-centric approach to developing this city. Let us involve UTOF. Let us involve Haj Sechindi of UTOF and see how can we have the taxi industry come together. We have buses that Chira Motors is capable of producing in Uganda, the Kayoras. We have had UTOF coming up with electric matatus that ply up to Entebbe. So how do we involve them and benefit from the selfishness of the private sector for overall national development? How do we bring them together? And these are discussions that we're going to have.
You know, if you go to
sector.
City Hall, and I'm sure Frank Rusa knows this, and you look into your cabins, you're going to find all these plans that have been there for a long time.
Yes.
And even Frank is not a new person at KCCA. He was in senior position, I can imagine.
Yes.
So you have heard all these things and you never implement them. So even when you speak here, Daniel, majority of Ugandans watching tonight will not believe you, because you'll be regurgitating the same old story we've had, and it does not work.
Kamara, I'm requesting
For example,
I'm requesting you to tell the citizens that majority of Ugandans will want to believe you. But if you say majority of Ugandans won't believe you,
because you have set a precedent, they have a background.
You're infusing into them, they don't. Yet we want them to believe and be a part of this. We want the Ugandan watching us to know that they are part of the development of Kampala. They are part of what we want to make better.
So let me give you called for people to invest into bus terminals. They're supposed to be on major roads, in one somewhere in Natete, another one somewhere in Banda, another one I think in Kawempe or Boise. But these bus terminals would have reduced on the congestion, maybe the taxis would come, terminals, maybe not bus terminals, so that the taxis would stop there and then take buses to bring in the city. This is a plan that you've been having, but that plan has never been effected. So why are we going to believe the plans for now? In fact, you even had plans of Kampala, grand plans of even having, the chairlifts, the trams, the late trains and stuff like that. You've talked about all these things. Where are they?
And we have worked with the Uganda Railway. We have improved.
Which railway?
Uganda Railway. We have a railway. It is advertising.
Okay.
We have improved our infrastructure to even allow the railway have smooth passage.
So let me ask, when people come from Boyogerere on a railway, and you bring them at the railway station in the heart of Kampala, what's the plan of evacuating the passengers when they've reached here? Because you know they are going to Mengo, they are going to Rubaga, they are going to Ntinda. So you have brought 5,000 people down here. What's the plan what's the massive public plan of taking them to different places?
Ultimately, the railway is supposed to go through.
No, but now, because it's working, right? It's bringing thousands of people at least once in the morning, dumping them in the heart of the city.
Doesn't dump them. delivers them into the city.
But do you have a plan for them to move? Do you have a plan for them to be moved from there?
We are a city in progress, and that is why I'm telling you, we need to sit down with the citizenry, with the private sector, and our plan is to be a
So Daniel, when people come from Namamve,
yes,
all along in that train, and they are coming here at the railway station, you are aware that's not their destination, right?
Partly yes, and partly no, because there are those that transit, that go through, and there are those that work within the buildings in the CBD.
So what?
And by the way, most of the people who come and off board, or who come from their workspaces and board at the railway station, are working from within. They are looking for cheap means of transport, affordable, I wouldn't call it cheap, affordable means of transport that will bring them into the city. And that is a plus. And they walk to that train and get out of the city. So when they come, they walk to work. Then they come back, board the train and go home. That's a plus. Now we want more of that train service. And want people to believe that now that we have done that, and it is working, we can do better, we can do more. So let the citizens believe that we can, and we are going to.
I think transport.
I know you come from Kawempe division at one point, if I remember well, but you also, as a former deputy mayor, we have seen now the common means of transport now in the city is border.
That's right.
But we are reaching a level where the borders are just too many. And then they are not also following the rules. They have also become a source of insecurity. But I also understand it is one biggest source of a livelihood for majority of young Ugandans. How do we make sure these borders are in order?
I think for us, when we were in power, we wanted to regulate these borders. We wanted them to have stages, and we limit the number on each and every stage, and then we give them the identity, and then we train them in way of riding, so that we control the numbers of this border. But when we started that, the head of state said, leave my people, leave my border. So it was like open, let them be as many as they can. First of all, when there are many, some of them even don't get what they expect to get. You see, one can come on the road, and then by the time he finishes, he has got 5,000 or less than that. You see? So, secondly, if they are not orderly, they are going to mess, or they are messing the whole of the city. Because they don't follow traffic rules, they do what they want to do, and some of them don't have even riding permits.
You know, sometimes I wouldn't want to accuse them so much of that, especially disregarding the rules, because even the people who should be knowing better, the so-called corporate Ugandans, people in positions of responsibility, are a menace on our roads. Yeah. So before even point an accusing finger on a border rider, let's look at our own leaders are not doing any better on our roads. They are pushing us. Everybody, some people have even bought sirens, others are putting, you know, those lights on their grill. There is impunity, there is madness on our roads, even though police is there. I'll give you an example, Daniel. You came up with a very good idea of giving us a non-motorized transport corridor on the Mirembe Road that comes downtown up to, I think, Nkrumah and Luomo Street. But see how it is being disregarded around Namirembe. Supposed to be non-motorized transport. See how the flowers have been destroyed. And sometimes, even where motorbikes are not supposed to be, they'll ride there as police is watching. And I'm wondering, this grand idea that is being abused in broad daylight, why?
Well, the beauty, Patrick, is that we have a grand idea that was implemented, We have an array of shade on the non-motorized way, but we have not enforced it. But first is that we at least implemented it, and it is there. Now next is engaging and enforcing. We want to...
No, you needed, as soon as it came, the enforcement to happen. You see, when they built the Express, Entebbe Express, and they said, we don't want a border, we don't want a bicycle, it became a norm, and so people know there we don't go, because it was enforced. Why not the other things?
Now, we may have missed that stage, but we have an opportunity to capture it. And indeed, we shall capture that opportunity. We are going to engage all our comrades in the border industry that are in the wrong space. And once we have engaged, we shall work with the relevant authorities to enforce.
I'm going to open the lines so that you too, who is watching, you're going to see the numbers on the screen. You pick your phone and tell us what you think, what you see are the challenges of Kampala, what opportunities we have. What do you think the interim leadership that is going to be headed by Frank Rusa, Nyakaana, can actually do? What is your experience on the streets of Kampala? And as a resident, this is the moment for you to have your say. And we'll be giving you those 5 minutes so that we can also hear from you, because this matters if we get to listen from you. But also we are almost coming to the end of our discussion. Do you, Haji Takuba, do you share on the optimism of the KCCA spokesperson tonight?
Not really. I think, of course, this is what I'm telling you.
Be optimistic. Have faith.
No, but we've had faith in you for quite a while.
Extend it a little more.
Unless you're telling us, let's have faith in this new interim administration which has been put in place. But on transport, I think government should subsidize transport. Otherwise, in all cities...
Just hold on. Let me try to pick... There are callers online. I have a caller online. You tell us your name and where you're calling from and make it very brief. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. What's your name and what's your point tonight?
Good evening.
Oh, sorry. We seem to have lost that phone contact line. You can call again, or any other person. Yes, Haji was trying to make a point as they wait for the other callers coming.
I was saying that the government should subsidize transport, so that because it's the way of promoting the people in the city. People, their income is not good. There should be, if you subsidize transport, it should be easier, and those buses will be moving in, and they'll get the trams and other...
Let me take another call online. I have a call online. Hello. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, what's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Kisoro.
You're calling from Kisoro. Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm wondering, that gentleman, I don't know what his name is. How can you explain that the borders are packed and in the middle of Rome Street, like from Radio 1 to Namembe Road? The borders are packed in the middle of a road where there is not supposed to be motorized. And the darkness on those streets of Kampala. How do you explain that? You just can't go politics. You need to tell us who is failing on his job. Thank you.
Very much. Our caller from Kisoro there. The mess that the borders cause, and parking everywhere. Okay. How do you, maybe you respond to him? Daniel.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mutabazi from Kisoro, and for listening in and picking interest in Kampala. It is your city. How do we explain borders on the NMT? The NMT, or non-motorized transport route, was meant to be free of any motor equipment, be it a vehicle or a motorcycle, save for those that service that area. But like I had pointed out earlier, we had an idea, we effected it, we implemented it, but we lost a bit on the enforcement. Now we need to recapture that opportunity to enforce and make it feasible, give it its original intention. And that we are going to do. We lost that point, but we must pick it up.
Okay.
At least we have a gain from where we start.
This is what we're going to do, gentlemen. In the interest of time, I'm going to give each one of you to make your concluding remarks. Let me begin with you, Haji Takuba. Your concluding remark.
Well, thank you very much. And we've heard from the
spokesperson, KCCA.
The spokesperson, KCCA. And for me, I think there is a problem, which problem they have to address. And he's giving us hope that with the new team coming in, they're going to do a lot of work. But my suggestion is that we need to untangle the powers. There is a lot of power center within KCCA, which needs to be readdressed.
Thank you very much. Daniel, what's going to be your parting shot?
Well, we have had regrettable incidents within the city. We have had a self-review. We have been whipped. We are waking up. We have woken up to further the cause of this great city. The main focus that we have, or the main focuses that we have, one is ensuring we deal and we urgently handle the issue of the urban humble, what we would call the urban poor, their livelihoods and their environment, our cleaners, to ensure that the streets are cleaned, but they also timely get their pay. We are going to fast track the infrastructure to ensure that the investment that government has put into the city is fast implemented. Then we're going to be a citizen-centric public service of the city, serving the aspirations of the people to transform the livelihoods and the living environment of the people of Kampala. We are dedicated to do this. We promise to do this under the new leadership, and we are committed to make our city proud and to make our country great.
I want to thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Nwabine. I want to thank you so much, Haji Takuba, for the time you've given us, for your submission, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for the privilege of your company. Kampala is our city, and Uganda is our country. God placed us in one of the best parts of the world. This country is incredibly beautiful. If only we can just put a little more time and touch up our city, pave our roads and green our places, Kampala can be that shining city on the hill. No any other city in the region can even dare to compete with us if only we invested in Kampala, because we live in the better part of the world. Good night and God bless Uganda.